Alright, you already know what time it is. It is officially time for a second mock draft video. If you saw my first mock draft video to this one, you know definitely a lot of picks are going to change. I did that way before free agency and the combine. So now that the combine and free agency have happened, with free agency still going on, of course, picks are going to change all across the board. But that's what makes the build up to the draft so interesting. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through all 32 picks and let you know what I would pick if I was this team. Quick disclaimer before we do get into the video, once again, I am not a professional. Please do not take any of these picks serious. You know, this is all for entertainment purposes. I like to give the people what they want, and that's just seeing a mock draft. If I make a pick you don't like, I do apologize. You know, please comment down below what you would do instead of this pick. I would really be curious to hear you out. We're here for a good time, not a bad one. So with that being said, let's get into the mock draft. And with the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward. Well, it's simple with this one. You know, from my previous mock draft to this one, if the Titans are made as the #1 pick and don't trade out, which in my opinion, I have a very strong feeling the Giants are going to trade up somehow. They're going to do some dumb shit. I don't know. However, in this case, they don't. Like I just said, my thoughts will remain locked that they will be selecting Cam Ward. I mean, at this point, when all you have is Will Levis with Rudolph leaving and no other good veterans to sign, it's just a sign of fate. He's meant to go here, so yeah, my opinion stays the same. You want to hear more reasoning? Check out my first mock draft video. But most people know how I feel about it. Either way, Tennessee drafts Ward with the #1 pick. May God be with him because he's going to need it badly. And with the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Shedeur Sanders. So the large contract Garrett just signed, pushing to 2030 with the Browns, you think I would say Browns still go Abdul, right? Well, you would absolutely be wrong. I mean, I'm not too high on this pick. I really am not, as I believe both quarterbacks aren't that great of prospects like we've seen in previous drafts. But let's be real, would you rather take the chance with Kenny Pickett, the same guy who nearly slammed himself into the ground off of his own damn throw, or would you rather take your chance with Shedeur Sanders? I would really like Abdul here still. I would still take Carter, but I'm just going out of the way it seems, and it really just looks like it. I mean, hell, even Kirk Cousins would look better than Kenny Pickett. When you have Kenny Pickett on your depth chart, and that's the guy you're gonna start with, for fuck's sakes, they gotta go Sanders. Like, they need a quarterback bad. It's not even funny how horrible this team is going to look next year. I mean, at least with Sanders, they might see a far better season than what tiny hands would give them. Like, if I was a fan of this franchise, and thank God I'm not, if I had to choose between two quarterbacks and I had to choose two ways to lose, and it's like, if you choose one, you lose with fashion and at least above average quarterback play, or there's just lose completely, I'm going to choose the first one. And plus, with the chance Sanders actually becomes a franchise player, which there is a chance, it works out very well for Cleveland in the long run. I mean, if they're going to draft a quarterback at some point in this class, like a Will Howard or fucking Quinn Ewers, and with this class being so stacked in numerous positions on the defensive side, why not go Sanders? Like, if a quarterback is in the plant at all in this entire draft, might as well go with the second best this class has to offer. And with the third overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Travis Hunter. People already know how I feel about Hunter. If you saw my first mock draft video, I believe next to Carter, he's perhaps the best player you could take in this draft. And if the Giants don't trade up for Cam Ward like I think they are, then my best idea would be they sit back and just take either Carter or Hunter. But I think for New York, Hunter just makes a lot more sense. For starters, the free agency moves the Giants have made have addressed the linebacker position, defensive end, tackles, like signing multiple veterans, and with the talent and depth this class has to offer for edge, especially with great players at the position, you know, as seen at the combine, like Stewart, Jackson, Ryland, Kennard, U-Man, Barron, and plenty of others. It doesn't make this pick a dire need to go straight for the edge. And with Hunter, again, you get a player who can knock out two positions at once and play them both at an above average to elite level. As of now, I really don't know what they plan to do at quarterback, whether it's Russell Wilson, Rodgers, dear God, please don't let it be Rodgers, or possibly a quarterback prospect from the later rounds. You might as well give him a loaded arsenal with Neighbors, Robinson, Hunter, and even if he doesn't play both ways and plays as a corner, you get one of the best this class has to offer for that position. Although in my opinion, he's a much better receiver than he is a corner. Regardless, he's a pick you cannot mess up on. He's a win-win on either side of the field. And with the fourth overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Abdul Carter. Again, if you saw my original mock draft video, you know exactly how I feel about Abdul. I'm very high on Carter. Without a doubt, my favorite edge rusher next to Mike Green in this year's class. And all that needs to be said, if Carter falls to the Patriots' laps at the fourth pick, I'm convinced it won't even take more than a few seconds before the pick is already in. I mean, hell, they might even take a victory lap over around the stadium. I mean, someone who should be the clear-cut #1 overall pick falling to the fourth spot. is something no team could pass on. If you want a more in-depth description on him, I recommend checking out my first mock draft video as I did with most of the players there. But to keep things short, Carter is going to be an immediate impact to any defense he goes to. This is something the Patriots need, just an absolute game-wrecking pass rusher. Because while they could go tackle here to get someone like Will Campbell to protect May, if Carter is there, you do not give this a second thought. Remember, defense wins championships, and taking Carter here is a step in the right direction for the future. And with the 5th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Mason Graham. So during free agency, I could say Jaguars finally fixed their depth at the line with signings like Edoga, re-signed Van Lanen, and picked up a guard in Makari. So, you know, their defensive line is going to be looking a lot more improved. And with a bunch of linemen in this year's class, there's not a giant need to go for Campbell right here, especially after the tough combine with his arm measurements and everything. However, something they can definitely improve on here at the 5th overall pick would have to be the defensive line. Because as the Eagles taught everyone after that ass whooping, I'm still recovering by the way, the recipe to winning games is pure dominance behind a strong line. And with Graham, you get an absolute stonewall, pure game record, someone who can shred through double teams like nothing, with a very high motor and never stops running. Graham has one objective, and that's to disrupt the backfield by applying as much pressure as possible. With a career high of 34 pressures in the 2024 season alone, on top of an 81.1 rush grade, or even chasing players down, he's an absolute cannot miss player with the potential, if not already, to be an every down guy, somebody who's going to help elevate that Jaguars defense, especially when it comes to stopping the run. He's one of the best this class has to offer. And I think after getting the O-line help in free agency that they desperately needed, and with plenty of rounds to do later in the draft, going Graham here is the perfect pick to help this defense. And with the 6th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Will Johnson. Man, I really wish he tested at the combine. I really do. My opinion still stays the same. Look, a lot of people want Jeanty here, but I just don't see it. I really don't. I would love to. I really would love to. I would love to see him in silver and black. That would be something cool to see. But it's just not happening because the running back position goes so deep for this class with guys like Jeanty to guys like Dylan Sampson. There's almost someone for every team, so pulling the trigger this high on a running back with that stacked of a class is something I want to do when there's plenty of other good players on the board, especially with Will Johnson being in a position they need filled. Like, it's really a no-brainer option. Again, I went over this more in my first mock draft video. This felt more of an obvious choice, and I really don't expect Johnson to make it past him unless they go McMillan, which McMillan is a high possibility. That I can see right here. Or even if Mason Graham falls to them. I mean, I would definitely take Graham here as well. But for my preference and the fact that if they pass here, there is going to be no other corner like Johnson, Jade, Revel, like none of those guys are going to be in the 2nd round. So if you want to land yourself a superstar corner, a guy who's going to be a cornerstone on your defense, you have to go Will Johnson right here at the 6th overall pick. And with the 7th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select our man Mambo. I feel like I butchered his name. I do damn near apologize. After a solid combine and with the Jets taking a step in a whole new direction, ditching the life-size clown as Aaron Rodgers, who by the way is demanding a ton of money to go destroy another team. This motherfucker's wild. Please, for the love of God, do not let the Vikings sign him. Now it seems like Justin Fields is the guy who's going to be taking this team in the next direction. Which, solid pickup. I really like it. I think this could work out well. And what better than giving your new quarterback one of the better tackles this class has to offer? I think I went over our man in my first mock draft, but if not, he's a player who's going to keep his quarterback safe, giving him only 3 sacks entirely out of 2,000 snaps. He can be passed off as a pure freak of nature, being 320 pounds, but yet only 18% body fat, which is very rare for his size, making him already a very impressive prospect. Scouts and most reports will say he's one of the few tackles who already possess NFL traits that will help him translate his game to the field easily. Like, I'm just saying, based off the footage and that, he just looks like a guy who's going to be an immediate impact on the line. I think if you really want to give Fields the best chance at succeeding here, and especially turn this team around, you do things like straining the O-line, and as well as getting him more weapons in the draft. But here at the 7th pick, you continue to build that wall, which, while it was a giant step up from 2023, going from one of the worst in the league to 17th rank, it can still be much better. I mean, they already have a stud at left tackle in Fashanu, and with right tackle being a position they need filled, our man is the perfect candidate here at the 7th overall pick. And with the 8th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Jalen Walker. So, after Carolina's free agency, it appears Carolina still needs to address the edge position. And while I'm a firm believer of thinking they're going to trade back because this is a very strange spot with a lot of great players left, and it's still very early on, someone's going to throw a haul their way, and damn near, of course, I would accept that trade any time of the day. However, just for the sake of this mock draft, since I'm not doing trades because that's a whole damn process, If Carolina stays put, I have them taking the hybrid talent that is Jalen Walker. After having an impressive combine, he's showcased to be a versatile defender, being able to blitz as an off-ball linebacker or playing the edge position when needed. I mean, Walker does it all at an amazing level. His IQ, the ability to recognize plays and where the ball is located at all times, like nothing really gets past Walker. Once he locks in on the ball and his guy, that's a guaranteed tackle. And he might be exactly what Carolina needs on their pass rush, an absolute menace who's going to be a problem for all teams to face. I talked more about Walker in my edge rushes video, things like his pros and cons if you'd like to go check that out. I'm just shorting it up here. I will say, I really did like Mike Green here. If you saw my original mock, you know I wanted Mike Green to go here. I think Mike Green to Carolina was a great move. However, with things like his character concerns, which as of now, nothing is confirmed, there's still allegations, but for the sake of, I'm trying to stack up this defense and wouldn't want to face any issues that come with Green. I mean, no team would want any issues that come with any player. Like, if these said things are true, I would much rather take another great defender who's proven to be a humble locker room leader here at the 8th overall pick. With the 9th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Tederick McMillan. I fucked up that name so hard. T-Mac. So the Saints has somewhat of a disappointing free agency to say the least, with really no big signings other than maybe Justin Reed, but besides that, of course, nothing was done here. Opinion hasn't changed, it probably won't unless a big trade happens. But as of now, I still have them taking T-Mac for the sole reason of this damn team cannot stay healthy. Especially Chris Olave, who is made of glass and has 5 concussions now in his career. That is not a great look for the future. I don't even think you could look at that and say, oh yeah, he's going to be here for like another 3-4 years. I don't even think he's got 2 on him. So I would take that into account and maybe already start preparing for when he gets hurt again, because I mean, that's going to happen. As much as I don't want it to, it's going to happen. He's never had a fully healthy season. At least if you're going to ride with Rattler, get him an actual wide receiver one, perhaps the best receiver in this class. I mean, it's not much to help the Saints become contenders, but if you want to see what Rattler is made of before jumping to conclusions he's a bum, get him an actual receiver, because I'm telling you, lineup y'all gave Spencer Rattler at the end of the season. No quarterback would do well with that. And even if Rattler blows, at least you have a Mike Evans prototype for the next quarterback to come and play with. Either way, I'm thinking future-wise, and I'm locking down myself at franchise wide receiver and T-Mac. And with the 10th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Ashton Jeanty. Okay, so everything I said in my first mock draft, completely throw it out the window. Completely throw it out. The Bears went out and did it exactly in free agency. So either Ben Johnson saw my video, you sneaky son of a bitch, or this wasn't the plans all along. I mean, credit where it's due. They had a fantastic start to free agency, perhaps the best team in free agency this year. Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Joe Thuney, which as a Chiefs fan, y'all got a good one. Like, this line got upgraded instantly. I can't immediately say it's one of the best lines in the league. I need to see it actually on the field. But it's to a point to where I'm saying I don't think your first rounder has to actually be spent on a tackle, and you can do this later on in the draft, but rather they can use the pick to get themselves a future franchise player in Ashton Jeanty. If you're not new to the channel, you know exactly how I feel about Jeanty, but if you are new, to keep things short, I believe he's going to be one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, everything you want in a franchise running back, he's got it. Bears get themselves an absolute stud with this one. I'm going to trust Ben Johnson here. He turned Gibbs into an absolute weapon, and if he's able to create a line that allows Jeanty to reach his full potential, it might be what they need to get back to competing in their own conference. So unless the Raiders go Jeanty like rumored, which again, I just don't see it personally. I don't see Jeanty making it past the Bears. I believe his stop is going to come to an end right here. Like, the impact he's going to have for his team, let alone Caleb's development, making his life a lot easier as far as having defenses under heels at all times. It's a cannot miss move for this offense. With the 11th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Will Campbell. So the Niners took a giant step backwards from what they were since the Super Bowl. Like, injuries to guys like Trent Williams, Metcalf, and just losing guys to free agency, especially on the defensive line like Jalen Moore, John Feliciano, I keep butchering names, I apologize, and Aaron Banks. So O-line should definitely be a position they go after aggressively. And with Campbell's measurements at the combine being shorter than desired, and with most reports viewing him now as a guard, this is exactly what is knocking down his stock just a little bit. And I think it's going to knock him down just a little bit for the Niners to pick him up here. I mean, I'm going to say, this is a steal in disguise. It's a chance worth taking. Like, the tape is there. It speaks for itself. He's got the talent, the technique that allows him to make very little mistakes, only letting up 5 sacks over 2,500 snaps against top SEC competition. To me, he's an absolute powerhouse of a player. He's got the strength, being able to squat 616 pounds. On top of that, the perfect size of weight, being 6'6" and 324 pounds. He's got a great mentality. I've seen the most interviews of someone who's going to give you his all and protect his quarterback. Like, regardless what the combine or what people will tell you about him, I think the Niners are still going to take this chance and try playing him at the left tackle. And if it doesn't work out, try him at guard. I guarantee you he's going to succeed there. He's too talented of a player to not succeed at either position, and especially to fall any lower than this. Like, I know arm measurements can be a giant concern, they're a very big concern, but I believe his talent and athleticism make up for those issues itself. Like, you gotta look at it like this. Trent Williams is going to be 37 at the start of the season, nearing retirement at some point after this year. Having someone like Campbell, who pre-combine was projected top 5, fall this far, this would be a wet dream for the Niners. And if he actually falls this far, I have no doubt in my mind, risk or not, they will put the call in on draft night for Will Campbell. And with the 12th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Matthew Golden. So previously item-lighting Jeanty, clearly now that is not happening anymore, so I think they address another need on this team. Since of course Jerry Jones fails to make any big signings, I kid you not, a Justin Jefferson could come to this guy's face, say he wants to be a Cowboy, and this dumb son of a bitch will refuse to pay him. Like, there's a thing saying since 2015 they have not paid a free agent more than $6 million a year. This guy is a cheap-ass dirtbag. So the position they're going to address for me would have to be getting an actual wide receiver to take attention off of CD. I mean, come on! The wide receiver room consists of CD, and that's a drop-off. That is where it ends. Then it goes to Tolbert, but that guy strikes me as a wide receiver 3. Every offense can use 2 amazing every down receivers. So land with Golden, who I believe is the second to third best wide receiver in this class, especially after the combine with his stock rising. He's a very explosive playmaker who's proven he could play against top competition. Things like his route running, breakaway speed that could burn most quarters, his ability to create separation at the top of his routes, and his vacuum-like hands. Hopefully the Cowboys draft well, because I'm telling you right now, they ain't gonna do shit in free agency or before the season. Like, they got a lot of holes to fill, and they're only gonna rely on this draft to do so. And since the real life Mr. Krabs hates paying people, this team is never gonna win, as long as that clown is still in ownership. But you know, at least they can get a good weapon to feed into people's delusions how it's finally the Cowboys' time. And with the 13th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Kelvin Banks. So my opinion stays the same. I'm just swapping out players. I thought Simmons was good, but Kelvin Banks is a much better prospect. I mean, besides the arm length, maybe. However, my opinion still stands as far as the position need. They still need to do everything in power to protect Tua, because it doesn't matter how many weapons you surround that noodle arm with. If he is hurt, it's like losing the wheel on a motorcycle. This shit will crash and burn. This team relies on Tua's health, in which I don't think he's that great, but there's a clear difference when you have him at quarterback and damn Skylar Thompson. At least with Tua, this offense is able to operate and it just works. So unless you want Zach Wilson, the MILF hunter, at quarterback, you keep Tua safe. I mean, damn, actually Zach Wilson might not be a bad choice, but at least do your part. At least do your part and get Tua some protection, although I don't think it's the team's fault if he runs headfirst into another player. But at least you can't blame the team there. So with Banks, he's someone who's already played top competition in the SEC, allowing only 4 sacks out of his entire career. He backs great awareness, demonstrates quickness with his stance, amazing footwork, and blocks purely with technique. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm getting Tua FBI type protection, perhaps might even build a dam. I mean, just anything to keep Tua healthy, like worry about other positions later. Like just continue to stack the O-line here. I mean, they already have started by signing free agents in Borum at right tackle, Daniels at right guard, which was a fantastic sign. That guy rarely ever lets up. And even re-signed Eckenberg at the left. So adding Kelvin Banks to this, who will be a day 1 starter over someone like Armstead, who's 33 by the way, is a move they have to do if they want this pass protection to be at its best. With the 14th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Tyler Warren. So yeah, no surprise, Colts did not make any giant moves during free agency, at least on the offensive side. I mean, unless you want to count Daniel Jones, which I don't even know how I feel about that. Like, the only tight end I knew they had just signed with Philly, so you know, my pick stays the same here with them going Tyler Warren. He's the best tight end in this draft, and things the Colts need are weapons, at least a tight end. I mean, hell, it's probably one of their bigger needs. If there was a gun to my head, I could not name you a tight end off of this damn team. And what better than Tyler Warren to fill that void? I mean, I gave more of an explanation in my original mock draft video, but to keep things short, look at Brock Bowers. Look what Bowers has done for the Raiders. Now, he's not a Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers was not one of the best tight end prospects, but I do imagine the Colts would look at that and say, damn, look at what Bowers did for the Raiders. What if Warren can do that just for us? And hell, might even be what Richardson needs to snap into the quarterback everyone had hoped he would be, and not this franchise disappointment about to get replaced by Danny Dimes. Like, for every great quarterback, they've always had a great tight end. Well, most of them. You know, the Robin to their Batman. So who knows, this might be what this offense needs, especially Richardson. With Warren, you get a player who's shown he can do it all. He can make all the catches. He can, hell, he can even run the ball in if he wanted to. I mean, he can do everything. So unless Tyler Warren is taken up until this point, I do not see him falling any lower than this pick. And with the 15th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Mike Green. So my opinion has not changed here. Turn to the first mock draft video to hear more about that. But ultimately, I said edge was a larger position they need to fill because, I mean, the defense is great. The whole team looks promising, a future playoff contender. I wish they made it this year. They're fun to watch. I just feel they're missing a piece to this puzzle. And after totaling the second fewest sacks during last season, I believe they're going to go edge. Even after signing Leonard Floyd, I still think they're going to target his position aggressively and try to get another great edge rusher on the other side of Floyd to try and improve his pass rush. Originally, I had him going Jalen Walker, but after the combine and the rising of his stock and the lowering of Mike Green's, it looks like they're going to swap plays this year, and he's most likely going to get taken earlier. And with Mike Green's name, as I just said, going down after allegations, which again are allegations, he's still a first-round talent, and I believe Atlanta will be the ones to pull the trigger. Like, aside from his concerns, he is still one of the best edge rushers here, if not top 2 in my opinion. Atlanta gets themselves a freak athlete with potential that is through the damn stadium roof. He's an explosive playmaker, killer speed, amazing bend, and crazy athleticism, who is going to attack and just have linemen on their heels for 4 quarters straight. Packing damn near every move in his arsenal, he is hard to stop. Showcasing that with 17 sacks this season with plenty of footage and tape. With my favorite being against Ohio State, where he was just demolishing that line from every corner on the field. I mean, there's plenty of ways Atlanta can go here. I mean, they can definitely go with James Pierce Jr., who's a larger player. However, I'm just going based off of my own opinion. I mean, both players will be fine here, but knowing Atlanta, they're going to surprise everyone with a pick we would have never guessed as usual. So come draft night, the Atlanta Falcons should be an interesting team to tune into. But if I was Atlanta, I'm going Mike Green here at the 15th overall pick. With the 16th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Kenneth Grant. This pick stays the same. This really does. Cardinals had a good free agency, especially with the Josh Sweat signing. I just feel their defense should still be a main target here, specifically the line. Once again, they ranked bottom 20 in rushing defense, allowing 126 rushing yards a game and allowing 220 passing as well. So I really believe a player they could use to address these concerns would have to be the powerful run stopper himself, that is Kenneth Grant. I mean, sure, it's not a flashy pick like every team looks to have, it's not a sexy one, but it's a necessary pick. I mean, with the frame of 6'4", 330 pounds, he's able to clog up the middle and let nothing get by. His ability to disrupt plays in the trenches would help Arizona's defense against both the run and the pass, being an immediate impact with a high ceiling. Like, if the Cardinals want to strengthen their defensive line, you really cannot go wrong taking Grant, with him being one of the better, if not even the best player the position has to offer in this year's class. I would say it's a steal if he actually falls this low. I don't think he does, but if he does, it's an offer they really cannot refuse. I mean, I suppose they can go edge, but I think with Grant still on the board for how stacked the edge room is, there's always a chance later in the draft to find a stud edge rusher there. But there's only one player like Kenneth Grant, and the only other great choice at defensive line being Walter Nolan will not be there in the second round. That's why if I'm the Cardinals, I'm going to focus on my defense and take Grant here with the 16th pick. And with the 17th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select James Pierce Jr. Alright, so again, this pick is based on multiple things. One, the Bengals did absolutely nothing in free agency to help the defense at all. My God. Secondly, they paid Chase and Higgins both very large bags, making Chase highest paid non-quarterback and making Higgins the highest paid wide receiver 2 in the league. Which amazing move, locking down perhaps one of the best cores in the league. Only issue is, where the hell are they going to get money to pay Trey Hendrickson, your only good defensive player? When most of your cap is tied between 3 players and they all so happen to be on the offense, I don't know how they will manage to pay anyone else a bag. So Trey Hendrickson is pretty much gone at this point. I think it's something good to his team. I mean, you can't pay the man on the power of friendship and guaranteeing him we're going to get a playoff spot. So unless you pull a big bag of cash out of somewhere in the air, like it fucking grows on trees, you're not keeping him. Anyways, with Hendrickson leaving, supposedly, I had him selecting James Pierce Jr. because that hole Hendrickson will leave needs to be filled desperately. And while I am aware of character concerns and the headache Pierce might be, I'm sure the Bengals give 2 dams less about any of that when it's either you draft a once projected top 10 pick with grade A talent, or you have a volunteer firefighter play edge rusher for you. I'm pretty sure at desperate times, they can care less if he did this or did that. Their concern is, can this man save our defense? I'd say Stewart and Mike Hill would work here as well, but they already have Myles Murphy, who's been a huge letdown, so why draft another project when he can draft a sure thing in Pierce Jr.? Like, again, the only reason he fell this far has nothing to do with his talent or skill. It's just because his character. Like, he's still, if not one of the most talented players in this draft, and he did have a pretty solid combine as well. Yes, he will still need development, but not as much as someone like Stewart or Mike Hill, and overall his size, reach, paired with speed and his explosive first step make him such a force to reckon with, consistently being a panic in the backfield. And while he's lightweight, again, I think if he can even replicate a fraction what he did at Tennessee over at Cincinnati, I'm sure they'll be satisfied with that. It really sucks they can't afford to pay anybody else because this is a team where if you gave them a solid defense that can prevent teams from putting up 30 on a consistent basis, they win a Super Bowl so damn easy. And this comes from a Chiefs fan. Like, if I had to sum them up, they have a Super Bowl offense with the XFL type level defense. Like, I think this entire draft, they're going to be focusing on the defensive side all draft long. Things like corners, linebackers, tackles, which thankfully it's a loaded draft, but at least for the edge, they shouldn't pass on Pierce if he actually falls this low. So unless they sign Hendrickson, which I don't think they will, because there is no way in hell they can pull out enough money to get the job done, and I'm betting they're going to go for a guy like James Pierce Jr. And with the 18th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Tyler Booker. I don't really need to explain a lot here. I really don't. Geno Smith is not your quarterback anymore. You have Sam Darnold, a guy who shows when the pressure is there, they will eat him alive. You saw what he looked like against the Rams. When Sam Darnold is playing against intense pressure, that man folds like paper. So that's why I've been taking Tyler Booker, a guard who can at least protect Darnold, because goddamn, they're going to need all the protection they can get. He can do the job. He's a good quarterback. I mean, they have a somewhat decent system. They got rid of Metcalf. Questionable, but they have Cooper Kupp, a guy who's going to play 5 games before he snaps something. So, good luck to the Seahawks. I really hope they get the protection Darnold needs, because I'm just saying, they were claiming Geno was the problem, but Geno was playing perhaps one of the worst O-lines in the league, and he was still putting up those numbers, so we're going to see what Darnold's really made of. With the 19th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Jahdae Barron, easily the cornerback 3 of this draft. I think behind Johnson and Hunter, you have Barron, who is the definition of a human seatbelt. Someone who puts asses just on the ground, usually consistently. Someone who was a large helping hand on the defense last season, with Texas being an absolute ball hawk. Whether he was picking off the ball or making a big stop, as seen in multiple games. A few of my favorites where he stood out would have to be against Arkansas, where he was able to get a sack hilariously enough. Georgia, where he picked off Carson Beck twice. Fuck Carson Beck, by the way. And then getting another pick later in the meeting again. While not being a slot corner, but occasionally a nickelback, he is still a pretty dominant player. A lot of teams would just love to have him in their defensive scheme. And with the Bucs needing more talent on the defensive side, ranking 18th for total passing yards allowed, while their cornerback room is solid, they can definitely use another young playmaker like Barron, who's going to be 23 at the start of his rookie season. I think they can definitely upgrade on the corner position by taking Barron with the 19th pick overall. And with the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Omarion Hampton. Broncos cooked big time in free agency, especially with signing tight end Evan Ingram, who might be Sean Payton's joker, which this is a damn good signing. I mean, I really like the move, getting someone with great experience who can move to change and has proven to be a very productive player with no issues. I myself, and along with other people, are expecting a pop-off season. Now he actually has a good, consistent quarterback, and there's a system that likes to get everybody fed. So with the Broncos taking care of the tight end position, and there being other tight ends to take later in the draft to develop on later, they don't have to draft Loveland here. However, a spot they need to fill is the running back position, especially after not re-signing Javonte Williams. So with him gone and without stacked this draft is defensively, I believe they're going to use this pick to complete the offense and get the running back of the future in Omarion Hampton. Not only is Hampton a red zone menace, but if he finds a hole anywhere on the line, he's going to explode right through it. And when he's on the run, he's a very tough player to stop, and especially to bring down, rarely falling to any arm tackles. He can also be quite a solid receiving back, adding another weapon for Knicks to throw to. I went over Hampton plenty in my running back and draft video if you want to see those, but if I had to sum it up in one sentence, I would just have to say I think next to Jeanty, the gap is not that far between the two. I know the Broncos had their eyes set on Jeanty, but with this draft, there's going to be plenty of backs who I think will make an impact. Guys like Henderson, Sampson, Judkins, Caleb Johnson, Devin Neal, or even Scatterable later on. There's a lot of players I would recommend if they don't go running back here. And I just think, obviously, if you're the Broncos, you would want the next best player available if you really want this position to be filled. And that's exactly what Omarion Hampton here is at the 20th pick. With the 21st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Walter Nolan. Man, I'm telling you, so many people, so many are thinking Steelers go Jackson Dart here, which, while I will admit, I am one of those, still am. I'm just weighing out the options. I'm weighing it out, and I'm a Jackson Dart believer. I believe they could take him. I believe that it's a possibility, but we just have to say, if the Steelers draft him this early, it's purely out of desperation, and that's how you create another Kenny Pickett. Even though I think Dart is a much better player, it just feels too early, especially when there's really good players for other positions they need on the board. And one of those players happens to be a defensive lineman, Walter Nolan. The second best, some people will even argue the best defensive tackle in this draft. Nolan was the anchor for Ole Miss, formerly A&M, being an explosive playmaker who's always causing disruption in the backfield. Whether it be a pass or run play with a combination of power, leverage, and his technique, he possesses being able to shred through tackles consistently off his first step. Few games I saw of him would have to be against Florida, South Carolina, where he got 2 sacks on Sellers, 4 solo tackles, again also proving he can produce well against top competition. Like, the tape is there, the tools are there, his potential is very high, with a floor still being an all-pro. He's someone who's going to come in day one and make an immediate impact for this defense. The 22nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Colson Loveland. So with the Chargers keeping Khalil Mack in free agency, I really don't see them in a dire need to go after the edge position so aggressively. Same with the running back position after signing Najee Harris, and then the draft actually falls in this order, and Broncos do not decide to go tight end as some people are still believing. I had them finally giving Herbert an actual receiving threat for a tight end in Colson Loveland. If you saw my first mock draft, you know how I feel about Loveland. He's easily the second best tight end on the board. He plays the position like an oversized wide receiver, being 6'5" and 250 pounds. He's a very physical player that can be too much of a matchup against most corners and linebackers. He packs an amazing set of very reliable hands with a massive catch radius, using his frame to his advantage on most contested catch situations. He's able to read coverages and find the soft spots on the field to always be an open target to then become a dangerous yards after catch player, which is something Herbert couldn't really use. His blocking could definitely use some work, but aside from that, he could be quite an explosive threat down the field, as seen versus Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, even Alabama. And while he's no Tyler Warren, some people will point out, he's still a very exceptional prospect with the comparison of Greg Olsen. To keep it short, we've seen what this offense is capable of, and besides that, I think they could really use another explosive playmaker. And plus, you know damn well Harbaugh would love a reunion with this guy. Michigan, I mean, give Herbert another solid red zone option. So unless they plan on making a trade for a veteran tight end, I don't know, like someone like Dallas Goedert, I heard they were trying to get rid of him, who's a well-proven player, I just don't see them riding into next season with Will Dissly at tight end. If you're a team that's trying to compete, which they are, they're trying to beat, of course, the whole Chargers can't win a playoff game allegation. So, you know, you want to load up this offense as much as possible. And for a position they need, this is an easy pick right here. An absolute no-brainer with Colson Loveland. With the 23rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Emeka Egbuka. Okay, this one makes sense. I'm going to keep it short, keep it sweet. For the love of God, give Jordan Love an actual weapon that's not always injured or not that's always going to choke in the moment. Give him a receiver who has played in the big moments, who has made big catches, and has done and has always produced at a good level. That's exactly what Egbuka is. He doesn't need to be a wide receiver one. He just needs to be a reliable receiver. Like, I think they can definitely load up on other receivers in the draft, but of course, you can't really not go wrong with Egbuka. I think he's the third best available after Golden and after McMillan, which, of course, the Packers never draft wide receiver in the first round anyway, so that's why I'm already doubting this. I just hope they go against it, and I really hope they finally get this man an actual weapon. And with the 24th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Malachi Starks. The Vikings had a rather interesting offseason. They lost some, but brought in a good amount. Signings like Okudah, Rogers, re-signed Murphy Jr. for the corner room, brought in guys like Hargrave, Allen for the defensive line, so this defense might be better than it was already. On top of that, they already addressed the running back concerns by bringing back Jones and trading for Jordan Mason, who's only 25 and full of potential. I mean, up until his injury, he was doing a pretty good job filling in for Christian McCaffrey. But rather than a position I saw them lose during free agency and they have not addressed yet was Cameron Bynum signing with the Colts, which is a tough loss for the Vikings. Bynum was an absolute ball hawk, great IQ, played great coverage, and was just a large factor for the locker room. So it's definitely going to be a large hole to fill, but what better than to fill that hole with, if not arguably the best safety in this class, Malachi Starks. A raw but gifted player with track-like speed, running at 4.5 on the 40, and on the field having an elite closing burst that can shut down run plays at the line of scrimmage. He brings a lot to the defense, like his violent playstyle that allows him to shed through blocks and deliver impactful hits against the run. Things like his IQ, recognition skills, and coverage, like matching patterns and filling routes around him, which he also has great change of direction skills, especially being able to track the ball at all times. Games that we like to refer back on, or at least what most footage shows where the skills are best highlighted, would have to be against Oregon, which is my personal favorite, or against Alabama in 23, Ohio State in 22, and Texas this year. Like, these type of techniques will make an immediate impact at the next level. Now, while his coverage could use some work, with the right development, especially in Minnesota, they could fix these issues in no time. His tape really speaks for itself. He's got everything you want in a safety, from the size to his IQ. He's produced amazing numbers against the best competition in college and will perfectly thrive in this defensive scheme. Like him or Nick here are both no-brainer options when you consider safeties. And for a team that doesn't really have depth at that position and won't get any better than what Starks will provide you. And with the 25th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Gray Zabel. Talk about quite an offseason for Houston. Trading away guard Kenyon Green for CJ Gardner, amazing pickup at the safety. Trading away Tunsil was really not on my bingo card, and neither was signing Christian Kirk. But originally, I had him go on wide receiver here, the 25th pick, but with the Kirk signing, I'm sure to focus on receivers later in the draft. Like, it seems they got their wide receiver to Collins as wide receiver 1. Something they really need to address, however, is who the hell is going to block for Stroud. Which, yes, they signed Laken Tomlinson, but you really have to think long-term, which there is no long-term option at the moment. It seems they plan on having Titus Howard starting to place a Tunsil, so with this pick, I would focus on finding a guard which Gray Zabel fits perfectly. And he's got everything I would want in a guard to protect my quarterback. For starters, he is 6'6", 312 pounds, and while he's listed as a tackle, he's a versatile player who shined at North Dakota State, lining up at 4 different positions on the field multiple times, including being a center. So he's definitely a player who's not shy to convert the guard if he needs to and still perform at a high level. Things like his footwork to his timing, scouts say he reminds him of a young but less explosive Zach Martin, just because he reminds him things like his combo blocks and just natural power. If you watch his highlights or even footage, his tape will show you an athletic player with natural leverage and drive who's dominated his competition no matter what moves they threw his direction. He's a giant concrete wall if I had to sum him up, and for a Texans O-line that's needing crucial help, letting Stroud get sacked 52 times this season alone, a huge bump from 38 the season before. So adding Zabel, who's only let up ever 1 sack his entire college career, is a great step towards getting Stroud the help he needs. I'm telling you, this team is so damn good. This team could be actually really good and can be even a lot better. To me, they're a dark horse in the AFC next to the Broncos. Like, Stroud is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, so it really just sucks seeing so many people dog on him and saying it's his fault and he's regressed, when really he's playing his ass off behind a line that couldn't even contain a cold. Like, people are so quick to blame the quarterback and don't realize how important a good O-line is. Like, maybe 5 other quarterbacks would thrive behind this line, and that's about it. And he's still put up near 3,700 yards in production. I really hope they give him the help he needs on the offense, because I'm telling you, this defense is doing its job. One of the best defenses in the league. Like, I'm just saying, they could just block on the offense. I'm telling you, this team will make a deep run. We're talking AFC Championship. They just have to get the protection. And with the 26th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Jahad Campbell. So with his combine blowing people away and making his stock rise, I have the Rams loading up their depth at the linebacker position by drafting Campbell. It's not a pick that needs a lot of explanation, and while they could load him on this position later in the draft, you're not going to find a player like Campbell, I can guarantee you. Like, other positions go deep enough to where you can still find a stud corner or like edge rusher in the 2nd or 3rd round, and they sure as hell don't need a receiver with the Adams signing. So with Campbell, you get a versatile player packed explosive speed, especially with things like his first step and closing speed, which for a guy his size, being 244 pounds is rare speed. We're talking type of speed that can easily wreck and disrupt any play from multiple alignments. His instincts like his route recognition, ability to diagnose the current play, knowing when to use his reach to disrupt passing lanes, or even his timing when it comes to blitzing and knowing when to apply pressure. Like, yes, he has his weaknesses where he can definitely improve on his block shedding and not definitely being overly aggressive on coverage. I mean, there's a lot of things I could say, but things like his youth, being the youngest linebacker here on the boards as well, his physical traits, play style, or the fact that his potential is very high with a lot of room still for development. As he's shown year by year at Alabama, he's a very quick learner and will continue to adapt. Things like that scream defensive cornerstone for the team that takes him. And for the Rams, that is enough to take him here at the 26th pick. Now, would I be shocked if they don't go linebacker here? No, of course not. In the McVay era, they have not spent more than a 3rd rounder at best for a linebacker. I just think if he falls this low, it's something to consider, and it would be great to add some youth with a very high upside to this position. With the 27th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Nick Emawari. So with Emawari, I don't see him any less of a prospect than Starks. I view both of them as future cornerstones, and both have the potential to be some of the best safeties in the league. It's more of just a 1A to 1B type thing. Both have their own skill sets that make them unique, so you really can't go wrong with either. But in this case, with Starks gone and Baltimore needing a safety besides Kyle Hamilton, it's a perfect fit. The thing with him versus Starks, I think he does a lot better. He's got much better man-zone coverage, while Starks is definitely better against the run. Nick's got freakish speed running at 4.38, matched with his large frame of 6'3" and 225 pounds. and he possesses a violent playstyle, being a hard hitter who rarely misses a tackle against the run. And when he's playing man coverage, he showcases his route recognition skills, especially when matching up against tight ends given his size, and blows up plays consistently. So he might not fall this far, but I really hope he does, because everything about him just screams Raven. This is a perfect pairing, because not only is this a position they need, but like I said, just his violent playstyle, his mentality, it's exactly what a Baltimore Raven is. With the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Shedeur Sanders. Oh man, what a pick this would be. So basically everything I said from the first mock draft, I really like scored in here and still wouldn't mind it. But with the way my mock draft has played out this time, and with Stewart falling around here, the Lions will happily take the versatile freak of nature that is Shedeur Sanders. From his size to his vertical, placing him second amongst most linemen, his broad jump reaching insane numbers, or even his speed, Stewart's packed with a ton of elite traits, and while the numbers don't do him justice, the footage says itself. This is a player who's going to create immense pressure in the backfield because of his ability to convert speed into just raw power against linemen collapsing pockets on a consistent basis, which is why he's double teamed quite often, but even then, he's a monster against the run. With Stewart, most teams are really betting on the potential that comes with him. Like, if he's developed properly under the right system, he's gonna be a nightmare for all teams to face, and with him going to Detroit, they would finally be giving Hutchinson an explosive pass rushing partner. This could be a scary duo, if not one of the best in the league, if the development plays out correctly. Like, I would have had Stewart a lot higher up, but I still think guys like Green, Pierce, Walker are somewhat better options. Not saying, of course, Stewart is a bad option. He's definitely got one of the higher ceilings compared to the others. I just think it's definitely going to take some time before we see it. Regardless, he's worth the pick, and that's exactly why Detroit's going to take him. With the 29th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Donovan Ezeriku, or Braku. Fuck, I apologize for butchering it. Absolute sleeper of a player right here. So with the Commanders getting Tunsil, Debo, and addressing other needs of free agency, it leaves a spot open for a lot with this pick. But I feel a position they can definitely target will be adding a defensive end who could be an upgrade on the pass rush. During my edge rusher videos, I said I was really a fan of Donovan's game and the traits he possesses, like his 34-inch arms, which is still crazy to think about. It makes sense, of course, why he rarely misses when his hands make contact, with nearly 17 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and forcing a bunch of quarterback hurries, along with 80 total tackles this year. He's got great bend, great ankle flexion. He is able to keep his pace when turning around the corner against tackles. He remains to be a very consistent player with a motor that gives you the same level of effort every snap. Teams are going to love this guy, especially what he brings to the defense, like his block shedding, where he can do it with a wide variety of moves like the rip, swim, club, even the dip move. It creates opportunities for him to make tackles for loss. He's also quite a versatile defender who is capable of more than one alignment, like the 4-3, or if he needs to be a stand-up outside linebacker in the 3-4 scheme, he'll make a play from anything. While they do have plenty of defensive ends already, this team needs a player who's going to be explosive off of the line, causing constant panic in the backfield, and to just be a pure game record for 4 quarters straight. As of now, they haven't addressed this yet. Free agency is still going on and trades can still happen, so anything is possible. But if they go into draft night still needing the position filled, they will go edge rusher, the 29th pick, to help solidify this defense. And with the 30th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Luther Burden III. Look, it's simple. Bills need a field stretcher. I think that's easier said than done. I mean, you can ask anyone when you look at the Bills what they don't have, and they'll say not enough weapons. With Coleman still being a project in the works, he'll be great once he's done. Getting rid of Mack, which was a questionable move. I mean, Mack Hollins looked really good and showed up in crucial moments. I don't know why they didn't re-sign him. I mean, they signed Palmer, but what does he do that Curtis Samuel didn't? And for God's sakes, if you're gonna bring back Diggs, you might as well hit the draft. Stephon Diggs is like a toxic ex that kept your number. Why the hell would he want to come back? Why the hell would they allow him back? So instead of paying him, I think a wide receiver here at the 30th pick will be a perfect solution. And a player who could be the answer to the problems will be Luther Burden. A versatile receiver that contains all the traits you want in a future wide receiver 1, or at worst, a good solid wide receiver 2. He's a player coordinators are just going to have a field day working with just because of his versatility. You can have him lined up just about anywhere on the outside, the inside, at the slot. You can even have him run jet sweeps, or you can have him play deep. He's going to be a player that will just be lighting up secondaries all game long, the way he's able to get separations to be a dangerous yards after catch threat. And while he's got concerns like his speed not being elite, which is why he somewhat fell this far when compared to guys like Golden or like McMillan, or his route tree not being expanded enough, in a system like this, he doesn't need to be an elite wide receiver 1, he just needs to be a reliable option they can always draw up to go make a play down the field. As long as Josh Allen has the ball, he's going to make these guys look amazing, and what better than to give him an actual amazing receiver in Luther Burden. And with the 31st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Donovan Jackson. Look, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm still hungover from the Super Bowl loss. My team, my O-line looked like absolute shit. I want to tackle. I really want to tackle. I hate Juwan Taylor. And yeah, that's all I really say. Donovan Jackson is going to be a great tackle, or even if we slide him at the guard to replace Joe Thuney. Fuck it, as long as we get protection, I don't even care who we have out there. You know, you could put an actual traffic cone. As long as they can block, that's all I care about. I'm just being real. I just want someone to come and block. And Donovan Jackson is just a great candidate for this team. For the 32nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft to end the first round, we had the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Mykel Williams. This is like peanut butter and jelly. Georgia and the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, something about them goes so damn well together. I mean, I can see why they keep doing it. I mean, during the offseason, they lost a few key players like Milton Williams, Becton, Gardner, Isaiah Rodgers, and notably Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham due to retirement. So there's definitely going to be a lot of holes to fill, including edge rusher, where if the draft actually fell in this order, or let alone he falls this far, I have him taking Mykel Williams with the 32nd pick. I'm going to keep it a buck. I have him falling this far just because to me he is the biggest project out of all the edge rushers. Perhaps the only boomer bust for the position in my eyes. Just because while he's a freak athlete, he just hasn't done enough that screams he's a top 15 first round selection. If anything, this is probably perfect value. I think late first to anything early second. I mean, I feel anything higher than 20 feels too much of a risk. Especially since he's still a raw player and needs more development. However, for Philadelphia, that is a risk they are willing to take. Because like most teams, if anyone takes Mykel, it's for the hope he reaches that ceiling. Which if he does, this is going to be one of those where it's like, how did he fall so low? Plus, he's from Georgia. I mean, they turn these players into the next best thing. So it's either he's going to be one of the best edge rushers in the league in no time, or he'll just be an above average edge rusher. It's one or the other, really. I mean, I find him to be a very interesting prospect. I think he can be great. I think he just needs the right system. Again, I'm the furthest thing away from a scout. I would probably be fired within a week. So don't take my word on it. He might prove me wrong, and he just might prove me right. Only time will tell, but with Philadelphia, they'll find a way to make him work. That will do it, ladies and gentlemen, for my second mock draft. Man, let me just say, these things take a lot of time to do. They take a lot of time and a lot of planning, and especially just a lot of a thinking process. I tried my best. I really hope I delivered. If not, you know, it is what it is. I'm not a professional at the end of the day. I just do this for fun, and I do this for the entertainment purpose. If you like my picks, let me know down below. If you don't like my picks, let me know what you would have took instead. Anyways, I will see you all in the next random recap.